Cardle and Woolley on Talk 1370.
All right, with Sherry Sylvester, who is, of course, standing by. Sherry, the weeks are momentous in the news almost every time. And, of course, stories are breaking constantly. What have you got on your list?
Well, we're right in the middle of it now, and we're waiting for that House vote. But it's a big win that the Senate has finally voted to pay the TSA workers. It's been interesting to watch this week because if you're looking at the airports, in some places the wait is 10 minutes. In some places the wait is 5 hours. Of course, the wait is 5 hours in Houston. It's always slower in Houston. So the whole politics of the TSA comes back. Remember when the Democrats demanded that the TSA become federal workers so they would have those as potential voters? So this seems like, just the latest episode in this story, but I'm glad they passed the bill. That's important. My big loser of the week is Tellerico and his having to prove whether or not he is a meat eater.
Or a vegetarian.
He came out, even the Houston Chronicle, our friend Jeremy Wallace over the Houston Chronicle is very worried about what Tellerico said was that we have to respect animals in all aspects of society and that we really shouldn't eat them in order to fight climate change. But now he's come out with all these pictures and saying, oh, yeah, my office, we eat barbecue every day.
As the old axiom goes, Sherry, in politics, if you're defending yourself, you're going backwards.
Is this similar to when Elizabeth Warren made a video and drank a beer?
It's like that because, Texas is a big cattle state. We're the number one cattle state in the country. Nobody else is even close. If Texas were a country, we'd be one of the top 10 cattle raisers in the world. But as Jim said, that's not the problem. We would probably, you don't have to be a carnivore to get elected. We'd probably elect a vegetarian. But honesty, that's a big Texas value. But fess up. If you don't eat meat, say so.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think so. I have one of my big winners is the University of North Texas, which is cutting out some of the woke academic programs such as gender studies. Anything with studies on the end pretty much is junk academics. They say they're doing it because they have a budget shortage, but whatever the reason, I think they're a winner for getting rid of some of those things.
Absolutely. Well, they're doing it also because we passed a law, Senate Bill 37, that requires them to evaluate those curriculums and make sure that they're offering courses and giving people degrees that are worth something.
Exactly. Let me jump in here. I'm going to say my winner of the week, it's something that hadn't been covered, but I saw it in the Wall Street Journal the other day. The Supreme Court of the United States heard testimony in a key case brought by the Trump administration, and it has to do with when absentee ballots are counted. There's 14 states that allow a grace period of up to a week or 2 weeks. And here's the thing. In 2024, 750,000 ballots were mailed and counted by states after Election Day. And as Samuel Alito suggested and said, voters don't have trust in election results when they're accepted after Election Day. And when you're talking about all the Democrats claiming that nobody votes illegally and nobody votes in a way that is not proper that we can trust, this is the exact example, because when you're changing the election results, or that they can be changed after the fact, and the big thing is that the Supreme Court is actually even doing something. And the arguments and the questioning showed that the Supreme Court is likely to say Election Day is Election Day. After it passes, that's it. It's over. And that would say it just takes 750,000 late ballots off the table. That would, most think, mean a lot more conservatives and Republicans and those who utilize mail-in ballots to play things a little cattywampus. That could be a real winner when the decision comes out this summer, which is now going to be right when the Save America election earring and voter ID bill is debated.
Can I jump on the Save America? Because the Democrats
Yes.
are debating, of course, against whether or not you should have a photo ID in order to vote. And the lie they told this week, I started looking at this, they said 69 million women would be disenfranchised because they change their name when they get married. About 80% of women change their name. And I thought, well, that's interesting. So I started looking at the census. I'm a real fan of the census. Only about 3 million women got married last year. So where are these 69 million women? Is it like 69 million women in the last 20 years who changed their name? As someone who changed their name, you've got to change everything. You've got to change your Social Security. You got to change your driver's license. You got to change your Costco card. Most women who make that decision are pretty happy to do it.
Yes.
It's going to happen. It's not a big deal. And if you really didn't want to do it, don't change your name.
Well, what about
But this is
Mika
like one of their
Brzezinski?
big lies. Yeah, what about her? What about Melania?
I mean, is she Mika Scarborough now?
It's just this huge lie, and it wasn't like one Democrat told it.
Yep.
Several told it. Amy Klobuchar gets up. 69 million women will be disenfranchised by the SAVE Act. It's an incredible lie.
A lie.
All right, my big loser of the week is going to be a woman by the name of Maria Haddon. She is a Chicago alderwoman who said about in blowing off the murder of 18-year-old Sheridan Gorman, said, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. She might have startled the illegal immigrant.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That was outrageous, just totally outrageous what she did. And there's a gal in Boston that they made Bostonian of the Year, Monica Cannon Grant. But then they made her Bostonian of the Year. She's Black Lives Matter gal, and but now she's having to pay back $200,000 in stolen funds. I mean, where do they get these people? It's just incredible. Can I talk? We see these all the time where the high tax states, California and New York, are losing population and losing money, and states like Texas and Florida are winning. But this week, the IRS are getting those people. But this week, the IRS came out with some numbers, and they showed that 6.7 million people just in 2023 have moved, including 700, almost a million of high-income people. Mm-hmm. Texas gained $5.3 billion just in a year by those people moving.
Okay.
100K new people. New York and California lost $24 billion in tax income, almost 300,000 people. So, like I said, we know this all the time. This is often a winner, but you get the information from the IRS. That's pretty sobering.
And now Governor Kathy Hochul in New York has had to retract and beg people to come back.
Well,
exactly.
Let me throw in Elon Musk in the city of Austin then as a winner along those same ideas. He announced that big Terafab chip plant in Travis County and said that's going to help us put cities on the moon, occupy Mars, and go on out into the solar system.
If Austin doesn't stop them. I mean, did you see that? I made Austin a loser this week when that report came out. I mean, I love Elon, and we should talk about whether or not we should let him pay the TSA workers.
Yes.
But that new report came out that shows that there are 105 steps to establishing a new business in Austin. It costs $9,000 to do it, even a small business, and can take up to 400 days. So I'm assuming Elon's got a way around that, but the small businesses that make Austin thrive, that's why you'd move somewhere else.
You just go out toward Bastrop and get out of the city limits. I'm going to jump in here and throw in my loser of the week. Sherry, we were just talking about it prior to this segment. The big cat fight in you-know-what match between Governor Abbott and Kelly Hancock as comptroller and governor, and Ken Paxton going back and forth. It's not a positive development for the Republican Party to have, or any party to have, infighting. But when Kelly Hancock has the Attorney General call on Governor Abbott to immediately replace him, is what he said, was somebody who Texans can actually trust, Don Huffines. The lines are being drawn. The allegation is that Paxton's not doing his job on fighting the spread of Islam in the state of Texas, and by and large, if Texas is asleep at the wheel and spreading radical Islam, as Kelly Hancock says, it's the second time in a week that a fellow Republican has criticized Paxton, that being Abbott and Kelly Hancock, in a primary. That's not a good look, and I anticipate it's going to get nastier from here.
Well, let's look at what the Speaker did this week.
What he did.
Speaker Dustin Burrows came out with his interim charges, and one of them is to let's look closely at whether or not Texas could just take over Leo County in New Mexico.
Yes.
Because Leo County would like to come over and escape from the progressive demagoguery of Santa Fe. And, we've got these movements going on all over the country. We've got the Greater Idaho movement, where Eastern Oregon would like to be separated from Portland. We've got the downstate Chicago, downstate Illinois, southern Illinois. We've got upstate New York that wants to disconnect from these progressive cities. But good for the Speaker. He's looking at this. There's a lot of support for this in New Mexico. It's hard to do because, you know why? Because ultimately Congress has to sign off on it. And as we know, we can't get them to sign off on anything.
I've got Joe Kent, former director of counterterrorism, as a loser again. He told Piers Morgan that he believed in working in that very important counterterrorism position that he had, that we should restrain the Israelis. Now, the last time I looked, Israel did not send suicide bombers onto buses in Iran. It was the opposite. It was Iran and Hamas who wore suicide vests and go on buses and kill people and attack people on October the 7th at a music festival. And I think this smacks of anti-Israel. I won't take it any further than that, but I think it smacks of a hatred of a certain type of person. And I'm glad Joe Kent is gone, and I think he's a major loser.
Sherry,
absolutely. We've got to stop this on the right. People don't understand that Israel is our ally. They are the last stronghold of Western civilization over in the Middle East. This kind of stuff is crazy, particularly crazy coming out of our side. And I really think that we need to stop it. Now, yesterday, you guys saw this. We've talked about this 5,000 times. The U.S. Olympic Committee has banned men in women's sports. We're not going to see those see men competing in L.A., which is, I think, particularly terrific. But what did you guys think about Jimmy Kimmel calling Mark Wayne Mullen, our new Secretary of Health and Homeland Security, making fun of him because he was a plumber?
I didn't hear that.
Yes, he made fun of him because he was a plumber.
Which Jimmy?
Jimmy Kimmel.
The elitist that he is. Yeah, that's right. What I take out of that.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
My.
It was just, and also you all saw this, Bill Maher, they're going to give Bill Maher the Mark Twain Prize, and I'm a big Bill Maher fan. I bring it up all the time, even though I know he's a leftist and he can say awful things about our side. But, what he said was really clear. He said the Republicans do a lot of things wrong. And I criticize them all the time, but the Democrats are bat-ass crazy.
Did you say he's getting the Mark Wayne Award or the Mark Twain Award?
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. Okay, I'm just checking. By the way, I put Lindsey Graham on a loser list. Lindsey, you can love him, you can hate him, but he made a dumb comment. He said, let's take Karg Island. We did Iwo Jima. If we can do Iwo Jima, we can do Karg Island. So I looked it up. We had 20,000 of our Marines injured at Iwo Jima, and 7,000 of them were killed. It's a little different there with Iwo Jima and Karg Island. So I wish Lindsey would think sometimes before he says these things.
And I got to jump in here, Sherry, before you do a final one for me. I got to give a shout-out to the Fighting Longhorn men's basketball team making the Sweet 16. They could have won it last night. Almost did against Purdue, but Sean Miller, the new coach, boy, what a season. They squeaked into the tournament and then went on a run. That's going to lead to a stronger team next year. Way to go, Texas Longhorns.
That was absolutely Lynn, you're the big Longhorn. You have a comment on this. That was absolutely a terrific
I did. Well,
game.
I watched virtually the entire game. I got in a little bit late, but I watched most of it, and just seems like our foul line shooting was not really up to par, and we had a couple of guys who were very important to the team who got 4 fouls on them toward the end of the game and had to be benched for a little while to make sure they didn't foul out. But, boy, they gave Purdue all Purdue could handle.
Absolutely. I don't think Purdue was expecting it, and Texas managed to get the name Cinderella for 2 or 3 days after they beat Gonzaga last week, and it was great. It was great watching the game. Steve Sarkisian was there. Kevin Eltife, the chairman of the Board of Regents, was there. It was great to see them. The women play Kentucky tomorrow. I think the Texas women number 1 seed. What was so phenomenal about Texas was that they were a number 11 seed. Guys, we talked about this a lot too, and we don't want to lose it. The Supreme Court ruled against Biden's censorship. Remember during the pandemic when he wouldn't let social media companies put up anything that challenged the party line on COVID, and the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. That's a violation of free speech, which of course we were screaming at the time. So that was that's a win for us, and I think it kind of came through silently, but they won't be able to do that again.
All right. We are out of time. Sherry Sylvester, it is always a pleasure. We'll do winners and losers again next Friday.
Cardle and Woolley, weekdays 7 to 10 a.m. on Talk 1370.